What's going on, people? So if you've been following along with this here channel for a while, you know that I'm a big fan of like trail shoes, just in general. Not any specific ones, I just like to buy trail shoes. Reason being, I find myself out on the trails and whatnot, especially like up at Newport News Park. I go walk around there all the time, mostly just to kind of kill time. Sometimes I'll record little Instagram videos while I'm up there about the things that I see. Either way, whenever I'm going into things like that, much like any other walk of life, right? It's nice to have a couple options for what you wear, right? So that's why I buy these things. So I think this is probably like maybe like my fifth video on trail type shoes or whatever. So from here, how many more do I need? None, right? I really only need the one. But if Nike keeps putting out sales and they keep putting out decent ones that I like, same with New Balance and same with what else? Adidas. And in a couple days I'll have a Saucony pair. Yeah, if people keep making the ones that I like, I'll keep buying them. So we'll see what happens in the end and how many of these things I accumulate. But if you want to see the side of the box, there's the side of the box for you. I don't think there's anything specifically interesting about it, but people like to see that stuff. Also, before we getting into it, I did buy two other pairs of these. So this orange pair is for my dad, which is similar to similar to a pair of shoes that I gave him in another video. And this pair is for mom right here, because they're supposed to be coming up this weekend or whatever. So I figured, well, if the weather stays nice, we'll go hit those trails, and I would like them to have some shoes to walk around in. So I bought them these, right? So hopefully the weather stays decent, but we'll see what happens, right? But anyways, so this right here, let's go ahead and talk about these, right? So this is, as I was saying, the Nike Pegasus Trail in Mystic Teal and some kind of gray or something like that. Now, this overall, as you see, it's a pretty decent looking shoe, but that's not really enough to make a video about. So we're going to give you a little bit of a breakdown over here, and we're going to start this particular review with the bottom. So what you're seeing down there is a similar design to what you would see on mountain bike tires. That's what Nike's webpage says. I don't have a mountain bike, so I'm just going to take their word for it. And then down here in the middle, you have that trail sort of logo thing going on, so you know that it's a trail shoe. And moving on to the midsole, right? The midsole here, pretty much your standard stuff for a shoe of this nature. You got this thick foam. It's like Nike React, as it says on the inside here. So that's going to give you that extra comfort. If you've ever worn a pair of React shoes, you know what I'm talking about. So as far as the look goes, it kind of has like a trail sort of look. You know, it's like sandy thing with like some dirt in there, right? That's kind of how I take it. And then at the very back of the midsole, you do have that logo once again. Same thing as you saw on the bottom. So there's that for you. Now, looking at the upper here as a whole, right? I would say this is a pretty decent looking shoe. I like the way they did it. I like the colors that they chose. And in a lot of ways, it kind of reminds me of the last review that I did, which was this right here. These Huarache something or others. Aquatone Huaraches, I think. Either way, kind of reminds me of those, which is a colorway that I do like. Sometimes you don't realize how much you like something until you notice how many pairs you bought of it. But either way, so this right here, let's get on deep into this and knock out this here review. So around the toe box area, right, you've got a lot of crap going on. So you've got these little pieces that kind of reminded me of the bottom of like the Air Max 2021. And then you've also got this little kick guard type thing going on here. It's fairly thick. It's probably a good thing though, because if you're going to be running through trails, if you happen to hit like a rock or a log or something, you don't want to hurt yourself too much. So you got that. It looks weird, but I believe for functionality, I'll give it a pass. And then the rest of it, as far as like the upper goes, it does kind of have that same sort of like meshy look to it. It's not as flexible as certain other things that look this way because it's still made of like a banded technology to kind of give you security because again, it's a trail running shoe, right? If you're going to want stability and security, that's definitely a place where you're going to want it. Because I did my review on the Pegasus 36 Trail, I want to say, and yeah, that's definitely helpful. But anyways, getting back into this, it's pretty much just going to be that teal upper, right? So then moving back just a little bit to the midsection here, on the outer area, you do have the swoosh. On the inner area, you have that trail thing again. And also on the outer area, it does say Nike Trail up there. Lots of branding on this thing. And then as you move back, you have this kind of a plastic overlay piece down here where like the heel counter type area is. And up there, you have a black swoosh. On the inside, you have another black swoosh, just slightly differently placed or whatever. And then moving to the very back, you've got this little pull tab piece to kind of, I guess, help you pull your shoe on or whatever the case might be. So there's that for you. And now switching things back around to the front, you have a fairly busy lacing area here, right? You got all these overlays and whatnot going on. So like I was saying before, you've got this front part where it says Nike Trail in purple, and it's got this like thick plasticky kind of thing going on, which is a little bit of a weird sort of feel, but I don't think it's a problem. It just looks a little bit weird. But again, I'm gonna assume that there's some functionality behind it that I can't quite think of right now. So there's that. And then as far as the laces go, I do like the way these laces are. It's kind of like that teal and the same sort of yellow as you saw in the back area there. And then the upper two lace holders or whatever are definitely stitched down pretty hard, right? So that's good. In case you're wondering about the durability of that particular area, I wouldn't question it. I think it's good. You know what I'm saying? So you got that. And then behind all that stuff, as you can kind of see, you do have, once again, Nike Pegasus Trail on the tongue area. And the tongue is going to be kind of a plasticky sort of feel, which is kind of a good thing because you don't want anything kind of really getting through in there, right? On the outer areas and under it, it does still feel like the typical meshy nylon sort of feel that you would expect. But on the outside, you do want something that's going to at least keep whatever's on the outside of your shoe on the outside of your shoe. That makes sense. It should, because I don't see why it wouldn't. Now, moving back, I don't think there's anything that I haven't covered, so we're just going to go ahead and jump down onto the inside. On the inside, what you're going to be looking at, and I'm going to have to show you both of these because the insoles are slightly different. One has the Nike swoosh, one says Trail, so that's really the only difference. Otherwise, they both are the same teal color as the outside, but with like the black font or the black design, whatever. So there's that piece of it for you. And then looking down on the inside, things are looking pretty decent in there as far as, insulation wise and all that good stuff. You can't quite see any of the banded technology they were talking about necessarily, but that is one of the things that went into the upper, just to, like I said before, give you that extra security while you're out there on the trails and stuff, because again, with rocks and all kinds of things, just uneven terrain in general, the likeliness of an injury goes up exponentially if you're not ready for it. So be ready for it. Buy yourself something like this. Not necessarily this, but something trail related. It'll help you out for sure. Anyways, moving along back here, the sock liner area towards the back, this feels really nice. I don't know what this is. It just feels like some standard cotton type material, or maybe it's polyester. I don't know. But it feels nice. I'll give them that. So that's cool. And it's got a nice little light teal sort of color to it. So that's all right. But yeah, past that, I don't think there's much else to say about the actual visual of the shoe. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave those down below, unless they're stupid questions, in which case please keep them to yourself or ask somebody else. So what we're going to do from here is just go into my personal thoughts and all that good stuff. Now, as I was saying before, I do like the trail shoes because I'm out there fairly often and it's good to be ready for that. And this particular pair looks like it's got some nice improvements over the previous trail version, which was the Pegasus 36 Trail. I believe that was more of like just where they took the Pegasus 36 and just kind of tuned it to be a trail shoe. Whereas this type of thing, I believe they actually just made a trail shoe and just used some Pegasus inspirations. So that's why there's no like Pegasus 36 or Pegasus 37. It's just Pegasus Trail, right? It's its own thing. So there's that piece of it that I didn't mention before, and I think that that's a good thing, because when you're going to build something from the ground up as a trail shoe, I think that's just the best approach. And it seems like it's coming off pretty nicely as far as all the construction and all that goes. And then it still gives you a good look. So to me, it's got the functionality and look, which makes it a good buy, right? So that's just my personal opinion. If I was Life of Broski, it'd definitely be buy. B-U-Y, that is. But anyways, so past that, as far as everything goes, like I said, I like the colors and all that good stuff. I like the React that they're throwing on here. So overall, definitely cool with these, and I would definitely suggest anybody else out there look into something like this if you need something like this. But before you go making any decisions, hear me out on the sizing and the comfort and stuff, because that is a thing that matters. Okay, I bought these in a 9.5 because that's the size that I buy in all my stuff, right? I'm a 9.5 sized foot dude or whatever, so I buy 9.5 size shoes for the most part. And in a case like this, it fits just fine. One thing that I will add on to that is that down here around the toe box, because it is made to be a little extra secure or whatever, it doesn't feel short, but you just don't feel as much space to move around in there, because it's up here, even though it's a meshy sort of upper, it's still going to kind of lock your toes down just a little bit. Not anything crazy, right? But if that's a bother to you, you might want to go ahead and try these out in stores, because I'm sure they're not just flying off shelves. So you should be able to try them out before you buy them if you're considering it. But I do want you to know that I don't consider it a deal breaker because the actual dimensions of the shoe are still good. So go with that, do what you will. And it might just be that it breaks in over time. Anyways, the actual midsole though, this thing, it's got the React midsole, which is a good thing. And it's going to have all that extra durability under there for like the trails and stuff. But it's still a comfortable shoe just to walk around in, which I noticed before. So I would say if you're looking for a trail shoe, again, like it's definitely worth considering. And if you're looking for an all-day wear shoe, this will do it for you. But I would just buy something else, because they're not really, it's probably just going to feel weird a little bit, you know, because of the way the bottom is and all that stuff. I would suggest leaving these to the things that they were designed to do. But you still have all the breathability as well, as far as this type of shoe goes, even with like the extra protection and all that from the elements or whatever. So overall, comfort-wise, top to bottom, as far as trail operations go, yeah, man, or woman, this is definitely something to consider. I've said that a couple times. I want to drive home, consider it. Consider it. Don't necessarily go out and buy it, right? Because there's a lot of trail options. I've done a couple of reviews, and I have a lot of others. So go ahead and see what all's out there and see what really speaks to you as far as the visual, and then dig down a little deeper after that. But anyways, past that, there's not a whole lot to really say. I just need to talk a little bit so you guys can kind of get a good view of these on the feet and all that good stuff. That's really the whole thing about this section. So now we're done with this particular video, which is good. I can go ahead and I can move on to the next one. But first, I must say that from me to you, have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, whatever it is, wherever you are. Hopefully, if you're looking at a pair of these and you decide to go get them or whatever, let me know what your experience is like, because I am curious about that. Sometimes people weigh in on things and like, yeah, I bought these. I like them about as much as you did, or I like them more, I like them less. I feel like they should have done this, they should have done that. You know, I like to hear what other people think about stuff, you know? As long as it's like constructive and something worth saying, not like, I like these. It's like, yeah, I don't care. Anyways, later people.